We are headed to the Bay Area today. San Francisco 49ers at number 11 in my rankings here, just outside the top 10. And while I do like this roster and there's still a lot of talent, there come to a point now where some of those contracts have added up and they had to move on from players. And you're seeing this roster turnover and that balancing act of youth versus experience and being able to pay certain guys and stuff like that. So it's going to be a balancing act. And it's going to be really on the coaching staff too this season to be able to get some of those new starters going early in the season, especially, and getting in a rhythm and things like that. Now, looking at the offensive line, this is the key of success for this football team. And especially if they do make the playoffs, this was one of their biggest issues. And you go back, of course, to the Chiefs when they lost that Super Bowl. They have to be able to protect Brock Purdy better. And in general, this offensive line needs to do a better job in that regard. And yes, Kyle Shanahan does a good job schematically, doesn't always give them full pass protection sets and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, this is an area that I thought they would need to spend an earlier draft pick than what they did. They got Connor Colby at the end of the draft. But other than that, it's really not adding a whole ton here. So that's really a big question mark for me. Now, looking at the rankings here, I have the tackle position at 10. You still got Trent Williams, one of the best in the game. On the opposite side, Colton McKivitz. He's okay. He can get the job done. Ideally, I would have loved for them to draft somebody to be able to develop behind Colton McKivitz, and then maybe mid-season you see what you have. And I don't want to knock on McKivitz. He's not terrible. He's definitely not a guy that is horrific or anything like that. And I know 49ers fans, hold on there. No, he's not that bad. He really is not. He can definitely play. And here's swing tackle wise, Spencer Burford, even though I've listed as guard, I think he would actually be their top swing tackle for injuries and whatnot. And you can make the argument between Andre Dillard and Austin Pleasance. Maybe one of those guys could end up being their primary swing tackle as well when Dillard gets back here soon. I think their tackle room is going to get the job done, though. Obviously, with Trent Williams protecting the blind side of Brock Purdy, that helps as long as he's healthy. Now, guard and center is more of the concern. Other than Dominique Pooney, which really holds up the guard position, wise I have it at 17, you're going to have steep competition. I mean, Ben Barch played well when he got opportunities last year. He's dealt with his own set of injuries. He's not 100% even right now. Spencer Burford is going to be competing with Ben Barch. So let the best man win there. They're going to have some steep competition. Now, Jake Brendel, I figured to be locked into the center position. Brendel's, he's not elite, but he's a good run blocker and everything like that. He's not the greatest pass protector, but he can get the job done. And he's a very smart player. He can call protections and things like that. So I get that. And that awareness is important, right? You're using awareness rating on Madden, of course. So I'm checking the awareness rating any which way. Jake Brendel, solid center. Could they upgrade? Absolutely. Like, they need to be thinking about the center position. Now, Matt Hennessy figures to be good competition and also could play guard for this football team. I think he's pretty much a lock to make the roster. He really, to me, is one of their best backup here offensive linemen. And yeah, that's kind of the guys who are locked in for me. Burford, Hennessy, Barch, and then one of between Pleasance and Dillard. I think they keep 9 dudes, so Connor Colby could definitely be a guy they want to keep at least. Maybe don't want to let him go to the practice squad to make sure that they don't hit the waivers and stuff like that. So the offensive line is definitely going to be a key for their success, especially in the playoffs if they can make it. Now, wide receiver-wise, I rank them 10 if the group is healthy. Now, as of right now, you got Jawan Jennings, probably going to be suspended for a little bit. You got Brandon Ayuk, who's going to be out maybe till mid-season. I don't know exactly the timetable. They're saying, at least pupless for the first 4 weeks, and then we'll see how he looks from there. So that's going to be a big question mark. That's really what it comes down to. So ultimately, right now, their ranking is 22 for me. And also, Robinson, sorry. Jawan Jennings is not suspended. Demarcus Robinson is. So I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense to me. I know it doesn't make sense. But going back to that, Jawan Jennings, just dealing with a little nagging injury, should be good to go, though. Demarcus Robinson's the guy that could be suspended for a couple of games and whatnot. Russell Gage, Jacob Cowan, I think those two guys end up making the roster. I think you have steep competition between guys like Isaiah Hodgins, Jordan Watkins, and then some other dudes out here. Maybe Robbie Chosen Anderson. You never know, right? You never know. Ultimately, though, the wide receiver room, I feel good about it with Ricky Pearsall. And I want to make a whole little segment about Ricky Pearsall. First off, he got shot.
Shit, you can shoot me, but you can't kill me.
The dude is a fighter. I'll just say that. And he's going to come back. I think he's going to have a monster season. Listen here. For fantasy owners, take note, and I don't do fantasy or nothing, but I think Ricky Pearsall, if you are out there and you're looking at the end of the draft and you see Ricky Pearsall on the board, Oh, baby, I'm drafting him all day. I think that guy could have a big time. I liked what I saw from Ricky Pearsall last season. And when he gets that full season to actually be able to now be here in training camp with the team, in the scheme. Yes, that rhymes. I think he's going to be a baller this year. So I'm really rooting for Ricky Pearsall. Let's go, Ricky. He's going to be the number one wide receiver early on for this football team. On to the tight end position, which I rank at number 3. But I do think George Kittle, if I had to say who is the best tight end in the NFL right now, I'd go George Kittle, the big bad George Kittle with the flowing hair. Any which way. You got Luke Farrell, Ross Dwelly, guys that can block. And, Shanahan, he values those guys. I think those dudes can make the roster for that purpose alone. Braden Willis and Jake Tonjes are guys to watch out for. And I'll say Tonjes and Willis definitely have a lot of upside and especially some receiving ability. So if they want to keep one of those guys, maybe they keep both, right? They'll rock out with 5 tight ends. You never do know. Those are dudes to watch out for. Maybe one of those dudes hits the practice squad as well, and they can ring them up there for injuries and whatnot throughout the season. Overall, the tight end room looks really good. It should definitely be flowing there with George Kittle. I know the puns. On to the running back position, which also looks very, very good. Injuries have been the big problem for this running back room and just seems to be their enigma over in San Francisco in general. And we got Christian McCaffrey, which I think I said San Francisco or something. But going back here, you got Christian McCaffrey. Had a little double check on that one, discount. Isaac Guerendo is a guy that just got to stay healthy. Once again, super talented. He's injured, a little banged up right now. Jordan James broke a finger. So it's just never ending, it seems like this, and not in a good way. You got McCaffrey, who's been a little banged up. He's been out of practice right now, and I think it's maybe just trying to rest him for the season. Patrick Taylor is going to be a dude that really competes in here for special teams and could be a 4th running back for this football team. He'll be competing with guys like Amir Abdullah and Corey Kiner for a roster spot. I think Kiner ends up hitting the practice squad. And then don't forget about Juszczyk. You can't forget about Juszczyk, of course. So he'll be making one of these roster spots. One of the best, I think he is the best utility man in the NFL. Good running back room. It just injuries have been the big thing. On to the quarterback room here. Number 15 in the NFL for me, it's Brock Purdy. Mac Jones is the solidified backup. To me, you're going to only keep 2 guys because Curtis Rourke will be injured for this season, so they can just keep him there. And that's all they really need to do is having Mac Jones as a good, solid backup. Brock Purdy, in terms of what he can do this year, got to have a little bit of a bounce back season than last year. I do think he's a better quarterback, though. Then sometimes it's like, yeah, I get it. There are times where maybe you say, oh, is he a bit of a scheme guy, scheme merchant in Kyle Shanahan's system? I think Purdy's more than that, and I do think he is a star quarterback in the NFL, a guy that I would put top 15 in the NFL, and that's why he gets a star rating. Definitely a dude that I would be okay building a football team around. Let's go on to the defense now, and we start with the defensive line. The edge room, I rank it 4th. You're going to have a great rotation. Robert Saleh is going to come in here with his scheme. He's going to bring those stunts. He's going to get guys pumped up, motivated, all gas, no brakes. Trust me, as a Jets fan, I'm saddened that we had to let go of Robert Saleh. It's just the Jets, okay? He is going to come back here in San Francisco. This defense, even though there's some limitations, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but he's going to get this defense going and fast tracking. Mikael Williams is a little banged up. He just got a little knee injury, but avoided anything serious, so that's good. Bryce Huff, he's going to huff and puff once again this year. Watch out for him in a resurgence. Don't forget about Nick Bosa, of course, top-tier edge rusher. Yetur Gross-Matos, a little banged up. I don't know. Look, I've never really bought into Matos, but he's a guy that I could see them working on the inside on stunts and gains and doing stuff like that. Like Robert Saleh, that's like a sort of Saleh special. So don't be surprised if he plays a lot of interior. I think Sam Ekwonu is a dude to really watch out for. He's more of a rotational player off the edge for this football team. I like Ekwonu quite a bit. What I've seen from him is a dude that can get after the passer and be a disruptor. So I think they got a steal on him. And then you're going to have competition if they want to keep a 5th guy. Robert Beal, to me, would be the inside track. But don't forget about guys like Garvin and Jackson. Well, Jackson will be out on IR and Allen. But these are guys like practice squad dudes for this football team. But the big concern here is the interior of the defensive line. And yes, I rank it 32nd. You got Alfred Collins, rookie. How will he do? It's hard for a rookie D tackle unless you're just Jalen Carter level. It's not easy to hit the ground running. Braden Fisk, you see him from time to time. Ultimately, it is a big man spot, and you got to be developed. And yes, Alfred Collins is a big man, but there are times at Texas even where it's like it's potential and it's not quite consistent enough. So Let's see what he does. This is going to be a year where, like, I think Kevin Givens is really going to be the guy who would be ultimately the starter opposite of Jordan Elliott. And Elliott's dealing with some injuries, so is Givens right now. And that's why I pencil in Collins at the moment. I could see, look, for me, I am a huge CJ West. I actually think CJ West is a better football player right now than Alfred Collins. But ultimately, like, Collins has more upside. He's got insane physical traits and the tools. Absolutely. Like, that guy could be he looks like Chris Jones. So we'll see if he develops. You got Evan Anderson. I think he has a good chance to make the roster. Collie Davis, another dude to definitely watch out for if they want to keep 6 defensive tackles, which would make a lot of sense at this point on the roster and how thin they are. But Robert Saleh has been able to get away with things, so I do think he'll work some stuff out. And when we go to the linebacker position here, ranked at number 3, it helps when you have the best in the business, Fred Warner. He'll take a little pressure off of that interior defensive line, and ultimately any sort of leakage, it's going to be filled with Fred Warner. And D. Winters, I hear, has been making some big time impressions. He knows he's got some competition with Nick Martin coming in there, 3rd round selection, who's a good football player. When he gets fully into the system, and he's been dealing with some injuries and whatnot too, he's a little bit undersized. Overall, though, like, Martin has got that insane dog raw mentality to his game. Winters, though, could be the great will to fill in for Dre Greenlaw this season. Hopefully he takes his game to the next level. All the talent's there. Now, 4th, 5th linebacker is going to be competition between Luke Guilford, who could be a little Sam. Tate Bethune could be a little backup Will for this football team. Curtis Robinson, special teams value there. So Chaz Surratt, Jalen Graham, they're going to be competing for special teams. Bladen, maybe a practice squad candidate for this football team. The linebacking group, though, is going to be just fine. Going on to the secondary here in the cornerback room, which I rank at 26th. So on paper, yes, it's a little low. They're also, once again, dealing with injuries in this room. DeMar Lenore, Renardo Green, a little banged up even right now. This should be fine when the season gets going. It's just something to note there. Dallas Flowers, I hear, is really vibing in camp and been showing off some skills. Trey Brown, going to be competing, gives you versatility inside out. I think Upton Stout, though, ends up taking this job and running with it. Stout's a guy that he's got the Robert Saleh. You think of like the Michael Carters, the dudes that are just like tenacious. That is Upton Stout in like a sentence. If I could just, like, or one word, if I had to describe Upton Stout in this college film, it's tenacity. That guy can get after it, and he's going to get after it here for the 49ers. Exactly what Robert Saleh is going to want in that all gas, no breaks defense. So those 5 guys to me are locked in between Flowers, Stout, Brown, Green, and Lenore. Maybe Brown, who knows? I guess that could be a shocker if they wanted to go with more of the veteran route and Fabian Moreau. But ultimately, I don't know if they would do that. Eli Apple has a chance for sure. Darrell Luter. Oh, I can't forget about Darrell Luter. He definitely has a real chance. If they only keep 5 corners, then it's between Brown and Luter Jr. right now, I would say, at the moment. On to the safety room here, where you got Malik Mustafa, one of my favorite names in football, Mustafa. It sounds like the Lion King. And then you got Jair Brown, got to have a bounce back year this season. Then you're going to have Richie Grant. Jason Pinnock is a guy that I would figure ends up starting opposite of Jair Brown early in the season, with Malik Mustafa going to be likely on the PUP list and missing early on in the season. So there, look, while it's only 27th in the NFL, this is not going to be a liability for this football team more than likely. It's not going to be an elite room, in my opinion, but they'll get the job done. And they've got good depth. And watch out for Marquez Siegel, who might be more of a special teams impact early on, but he could be their long-term free safety. Like, he's got that range profile and the crazy athleticism and ball skills to be that guy if he can develop. And Saron Neal's another dude that would give you could play slot corner too for this football team. So I list him here at safety, but he could also play slot corner. And then Jalen Mahoney, definitely going to, I think he ends up making the roster for special teams ability. But he could also be a practice squad candidate that they promote up for injuries and whatnot. So that's kind of where I'm looking at it with this roster right now. So the safety room, like I said, it's not super high. Same thing with the cornerback room, but I'm not worried about it. Like, they do have depth, and they'll be at least have some decent play out here. I'm more worried about the interior of the defensive line. Like, that's the big thing here. Now, coaching staff-wise, I rank it 7. It's a good coaching staff. You got Clay Kubiak, OC. You got Robert Saleh as DC. And then head coach Kyle Shanahan. It is a big year for Kyle Shanahan, okay? I mean, there might be a little bit of pressure to, it's in the Bay Area, right? San Francisco is a big football team. You gotta prove it. So Kyle Shanahan gotta bounce back this year. He's been able to bounce back in his career. Robert, it's just like, can he get over the edge, right? Can he win the big one? Robert Saleh is a great defensive coordinator. I'm so jealous. Trust me. I mean, you guys know that. I mean, you guys have seen Robert Saleh out there, so it's not like I need to tell you nothing about Robert Saleh or give you any sort of conviction. That guy's a beast as a defensive coordinator, and I think he could end up getting another chance somewhere else as an offensive or as a coach sometime and do a better job for a team that actually gives them a chance. So the record prediction for the 49ers, I have them going 10-7. And for me, it just, as I mentioned throughout this, it's like there's a couple of things like offensively, can the offensive line hold up in big games? And wide receiving core, especially early in the season with Ayuk out, trade rumors with Juwan Jennings, which seems silly. Do not trade Juwan Jennings. Like that to me is kind of foolish. Overall, they're going to have to make a decision. I get it. Like money is going to be a big deal for them. Ricky Pearsall, I do think will take a next step, but that is certainly something where I almost would say, oh, maybe trade Ayuk or something. I don't know. But ultimately, that's going to be a big question mark for this football team. Defensively, interior defensive line is my number one question. I think Robert Saleh will iron some of those things out in the secondary, and he'll do a good job with that defensive line. So it's just the interior defense line on that defensive side. So that's going to be doing it for the San Francisco 49ers. And let me know what you think. Agree or disagree, though. Hope you guys have a good one. We're going to get into the top 10.